We're sitting here with Pit Viper Twisted Tea, Travis Pastrana, Jim York. First ever race together in what I think is probably one of the most ignorant boats out there on the water, because I've driven it and I know what it's like. I know what your struggles were yesterday 100%. Take us through the race yesterday.
Oh, we got off to a great start. I felt like
great. Yeah, couldn't have gone any better.
I heard tabs all the way down, and I thought I was putting them up. I'm like, oh, motor's gone. He's like, I'm like, I'll pull off. And then Britt Lilly, whose boat it is, he was like, dude, that motor still sounds good. He goes, you're spraying water 50 feet out both sides. He's like, put your tabs up. So after about 30 seconds, we started the race. So it was good.
Figured that out, right?
We just wanted to make it a good story, good comeback story.
Then I think as we started going, so I was trying to trim the tabs up more. And Britt, when I throttled for him the last time, he kept saying, we got it. And we had water coming in through the cab. We were touching the mirrors. I'm like, I guess this is how it works. Well, Jim doesn't inspire confidence like Britt does. He's, we're going to die. I'm like, I'll put these little training wheels back down a little bit.
I was told to yell at the boat. I don't know. I was just yelling. I think that was the problem.
I think Britt said, just to quote Britt, he said, make the boat your bitch. Jim the boat was making him I was trying to talk the boat into letting me just
it had you handcuffed to the bed.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He was handcuffed.
Okay, yes. You were handcuffed to the bed. It was not letting you go.
I think I finally got the keys towards the end of the race and we were able to get the handcuffs off, but it did not start out well.
No, like I actually told him one time, like, just shut up and drive.
Now, the ironic part is you've driven Britt's new boat, which I've never gotten to drive, but I hear it's completely, or you throttle the new boat rather. I hear it's completely different. It runs on rails. It runs completely straight. Was this a lot different to throttle than that was?
I'm not sure what the difference was between Britt and Jim.
Okay, fair enough.
And Britt pretty much just told me what to do.
And
it was pretty much just hold it down, and he figured it out. Where Jim was kind of saying the opposite. Put the training wheels down. But, at the end of the time, Jim did a great job. I can't drive V-bottom. Like, I love driving everything, but it's completely opposite. And Britt got into the Can-Am, like a little side-by-side, and he rolled it 2 seconds in. So I kind of understood. I was like, you call yourself a driver? And then I got in that, and I was going down. I thought I was going to barrel roll it on my first straightaway ever when I was with him. So Jim's doing a lot better than I ever did with that seat.
But ironically, you raced with Kevin at the same time he raced with Britt back in Sarasota, Florida. What was the difference between Kevin and Travis? Obviously, besides the confidence, and Kevin's a real jerk. I mean, Kevin's like, he'll make you his bitch for sure.
No, like the biggest difference for me was just a trust level of like, we've both just never been in a boat together. We're, two rookies, one boat. And it was just really, really interesting to get in and I don't know if I had the same amount of confidence, he's driven a lot of stuff and been around motors a lot. However, boats are just so foreign, and it's just completely different to anything. You can't really prepare yourself, and that's why every time I get into the boat, it's kind of starting over. And this is the fourth time I've ever driven a boat ever, so it's just really,
Okay.
Confidence level.
So tomorrow will be number 5.
Exactly.
For sure.
Right?
We're going to get 5. Yeah, exactly.
So it's not going to make you its bitch tomorrow, hopefully, right?
Hopefully not. No, I've gone with a pretty big time gap between each one, but this time, obviously, just a day in between, I can get in and be like, okay, this is familiar again, instead of having to relearn everything and start from scratch.
Yeah, unfortunately, you live in Utah, right? You don't live in Maryland. So, like you said, if you were in Maryland, you could definitely drive it a lot more.
Yeah.
Not that Travis has gotten to drive it because he travels all over the place, but...
No, but I'm right down Britt's...
Right, Lily, 20 minutes.
Right there.
Right.
Yeah, he's not 20 minutes from me.
No. Are you even 20 minutes from an airport?
Yeah, right.
So let me give you a little background on Jim York. He's a professional limo driver, likes to do big jumps, never panics that I've ever seen in my entire life. Demolition Derby icon. This guy's legendary in all the county fairs all over Utah.
Yeah.
Maybe even California.
Right.
So I'm like, I want someone that's not going to panic.
Right.
Well, the first thing he does when he gets in the boat, how brutal is it compared to a demolition derby?
Oh, give me 12 demolition derbies any day of the week, or one boat race.
Right.
Because that's about how it equals out.
Right.
It's violent in the boat. And it looks, my wife came to the last race. Yeah. She's like, oh, it's so smooth out there. And then you see inside, I can't move my neck. I'm like, shoot, we need some more.
It's complete chaos. I get T-boned at the side on a demolition derby, or just get, go down a straightaway in a V-bottom, and one is way more violent, and it's definitely the boat. The scariest thing I've ever done.
Well, to talk about your wife, I think when you signed with the Geico team last year, your wife was like, "You mean we get to go to the beach and like hang out near the water? You know, not dirt and mud." I think that was almost an exact quote, right?
It was a huge selling point. She was really excited. She's like, "You know what, Miss Geico, Steve Curtis, most professional team. You won't be throttling. This sounds safe.
Right.
We get to spend time at the beach."
Right.
Now with Jim, we're in a V bottom and we're mixing it up.
Things have changed slightly since then. Sure, she is. So I asked you a question yesterday, and I thought it was a pretty interesting one. I'll ask you the same thing here. You just did the Mount Washington rally, hill climb rally run, whatever we're supposed to technically call it, and that was amazing, right? Like that was one of the coolest videos I've ever seen you do, for sure. In a car, you're strapped in, you've got the handbrake, you've got the throttle, you've got the steering wheel, you're doing it all yourself. You've given up 50% of that now to either Jim or Kevin or Britt, whoever, or even Steve, right? Yep. How hard was that transition to give up 50% of the control when obviously you're a control freak because you do it all the time, you want to do it yourself?
No, it's definitely, like in the boat, there's a lot of communication going on, and it's interesting because there's a lot of expletives, but generally that kind of tells you if you're going too fast or not fast enough. So we're still figuring out our language there, and kind of I'm figuring out how to throttle, obviously, and Jim's figuring out how to steer. So we're getting it. Okay. I think maybe.
I mean, we were told that we were shaving off seconds, and it did feel faster as we got to about lap 8. So, I mean, that was the end of the race.
Out of 7.
Out of 7,
yeah,
right.
That extra lap was awesome.
Yeah.
No, but the interesting part is whatever you get in, like the lines are going to be the same. You still have the same apexes. You're still trying to get the most speed down the straightaways, but it's different. So for me, learning, the trim and learning just kind of how to get the boat on plane, and you want to run it as loose as possible,
right?
But also, want to make sure that you don't flip. In the last 4 races, we set the record up at Mount Washington, won the rally championship, rolled a Pro 4, and crashed a rally car. So I'm 50-50 on first or last. So I'm hoping that we don't end up flipping the boat because...
and as the shirt says, I'm usually here for a crash reel. Like I'm usually go as fast as I can and run into something, or like the
don't
car.
Worry, guys.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. But this is the one thing I'm like, I don't want to crash. Definitely don't want to crash. And I think that's where my nerves are a lot higher. Of just, I'm so used to just going until the wheels literally fall off, where I don't want to do that here.
Well, it's understandable.
But having said that, I think we both understand racing. We both understand like what the real dangers are. As far as we've crashed a lot of stuff, we've had a lot of experience driving a lot of different vehicles. This is honestly, we're getting into this because it frightens us the most. It's the most out of our wheelhouse, if you will. We don't have any wheels.
Right.
But at the same time, I think we both have kind of the mindset and the skill sets to hopefully make this kind of a full-time thing. So
yeah, no, it was like I said, scariest thing I've ever done, but the most fun. Like it's just something so foreign that I want to get more involved with it. I mean, like I said, 4th time ever driving a boat ever, and like all I can think about when I go home is when do I get to do it again?
So you drove. So today's Saturday. You raced it yesterday. You tested on Thursday.
Yeah.
Was Thursday the 3rd time you've driven a boat?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So it was 2 times before that.
Well,
once was in Sarasota.
Yeah, once in Sarasota. Once.
We'll count practice and drive in Sarasota as one.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm but at the same time, and then I think the very first time I ever drove a boat, I get in, I'm like, hey, the steering wheel's on the wrong side. And they're like, that's every boat.
Right.
I'm like, oh, cool.
Unless you go to California, sometimes they're on the other side of California.
Everything's backwards there now.
Yes, this is true.
But no, like it's exciting. You can't compare it to anything like driving a car. It's just really scary, but really fun.
I think that the biggest thing is just for people that watch the race, it looks so smooth. And maybe it is smooth in everyone else's boat, but so far, what I've been driving, it's been, or throttling, it's been just absolutely unbelievably terrifying. And at the same time, very, very exciting. So hoping to go in and get more confidence, build up. He actually made a last lap pass, which was cool. I think their boat was breaking, and it was the only boat that we caught after my horrible start, but...
It's okay.
We'll take what we can get.
Hey, a little bit of confidence goes a long way, right? Even though if it was on the 9th lap out of a 7-lap race, you passed somebody. They were going to the pits, by the way. They were done. They were pulling in, but you still passed them.
But we beat them.
There you go. That's all that matters. You guys bring to offshore power racing. Obviously, you raced with Britt Cocoa Beach 2019 was your first time down there. That was a shit show within itself because you blew the motor up and then you got in a brand new boat.
I was the wheelman there, so technically that was Kevin's fault. I feel like I had nothing to do with the motor. I was just aiming straight.
You've hung out with Kevin long enough. It's Kevin's fault all the time.
Always Kevin's
110%. Never anybody else's fault. that's where you actually teamed up. That's where you met Miss Geico, and then very shortly after you teamed up with Miss Geico. There's a lot of difference between the boats, right? Like Miss Geico is considerably smoother than the Pro Stock V. It's a completely different world.
Miss
right?
Geico at 150 miles an hour feels like 100. The V at 80 miles an hour feels like 150.
Right.
So
because it's so far it's so loose and out of control.
Yeah, and jumping in with Steve Curtis and that team, and they just had everything dialed. Now, Lily, those guys have everything amazing as well.
Sure.
But V bottom's it's just a different animal.
Yeah.
I think that's why we've kind of gravitated more there. I mean, it's a more affordable class. It's more competition as far as more boats are in it. It's getting bigger and bigger, and it's just a lot of fun. So I think the V bottom is really what's gonna kind of elevate boat racing, hopefully up to the next level. Really disappointing with Miss Geico pulling out, and with the COVID and everyone not being able to get over here.
Yep.
It's really kind of hurt the top class in competition, but I think it's made the V bottom even that much more exciting.
You guys are marketing icons, right? I mean, you've been doing this since you were a kid. Obviously, Red Bull's been with you since you started your career. Jim, I never knew that Pit Viper's been around a lot longer than 2 years. Actually, 12. You think you told me yesterday?
Yep.
You guys bring another level to our sport, right? Because we don't have this type of thing in our sport, especially with Twisted Tea, right? Bringing somebody in like that is great to grow the sport. Tell us about what your expectations are, what you're hoping to get out of them, getting involved with you, getting involved with us, and moving forward.
Well, for me, it's just this is the coolest sport I've ever been involved with, and I don't understand why more people aren't watching it, understanding it, and trying to figure it out. And that's kind of what I'm just like, hey, this is awesome. Look at all the people on the beach watching this sport, and then just being able to participate in it myself. I don't understand why this isn't a lot bigger. So I think it is just, but I had no idea it existed until he called me in January and said, hey, do you want to come down and do this invitational and see what racing boats is all about? Like, I always wanted to race something, but boats wasn't even on the radar.
Right.
Like, I've raced limos, I've raced all sorts of just weird stuff. Boats not even in the wheel, like
right, yeah,
nowhere on the spectrum, and yet craziest, coolest thing ever. So I just want to get more people involved, and if we can bring more attention to it through these different companies and things like that, then more power to us, and we can make this where it should be.
Well, that's great and fantastic. Travis, real quick, one more thing about the Invitational. I talked to a couple of guys after that, and they said that there were guys that they felt like some of the NASCAR guys are like Ryan Villapoto, Kurt Busch. Some people felt that some of those guys would be able to adapt to boat racing because they felt that they could change on the fly really quick if you could, like, because every lap's different, every hole's different. But then there were some guys that thought they wouldn't be, not that they wouldn't be able to do it, but they'd have a harder time adjusting because they're so used to everything being uniform. Supercross, triples in the same spot every time. NASCAR, same turn, a little bit slicker. Do you see that being something that you'd have to learn in boat racing, just as it changes by the second?
No, it was so cool to get so many of the top racers out for the Invitational. And I mean, you had everyone from the lone survivor, Marcus Luttrell, who he was just looked at the throttle and he's like, do not lift. And they were just walking everywhere. It was awesome. And they did actually pretty good just by that mentality of just, I'm going for it. Luckily, it was nice and smooth there. But yeah, Ryan Villapoto was actually going to drive Miss Geico here next weekend.
Okay.
Over the next round, unfortunately, with that kind of falling apart. But he was in. Rick Johnson went home, and first thing he did, he's bought a helmet. He's like, you ever have a test? You ever have a drive? You ever have a spot open? He's like, this was some of the most fun thing that I've ever done. And he's, Baha 1000 champion and Supercross champion. So really cool to see everyone, kind of coming in and how they adapted and to see their sport. Like Connor Daly from IndyCar, he was scared to death. Now his mom was Lake Havasu, won a jet ski, world championship.
Oh, wow, okay.
And he's just always been petrified of the water. So he was absolutely terrified. But competition gets out there, and he made it, I think, 3 rounds in. So, the guys definitely that can wheel one thing can wheel anything. But there's definitely difference because it's not just about flying that line. I can't figure out how to stop it from going back and forth.
Right.
But like Art Lilly told me yesterday, he goes, don't worry, don't lift. He goes, the mirrors will come off before it rolls.
Right.
I don't know that I trust Art on anything, but I appreciate that, and might try that tomorrow.
Go for it.
Yeah.
That's what he told Britt when Britt started driving the boat. Made Britt cry in it, as a matter of fact.
Britt was telling that story yesterday with Art, and everyone agreed. Art just kept it.
And Art was just laughing, and I can understand Britt fully, where I
could make him cry.
I guarantee it. I don't
in the
want
boat
to cry.
or in life? I mean,
yes.
Okay. Both, everywhere, right?
Pretty much.
All right. What do you want to say about what you guys have coming up in the future with racing and with Britt and the Pit Viper Twisted Tea team?
So awesome with Britt and Kevin. Those guys, they have a new boat that they built, so we're going to be kind of racing together here.
Okay.
They actually took off this weekend just to make sure that we kind of?
Oh, it was super helpful. They were on the radio the whole time yesterday, just kind of telling us, what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. We're making up time. We're doing good. And that was just really, really helpful as another vote of confidence for us. And very, very thankful to them to just take the time to just wrench for us and basically crew chief for us, which is amazing.
Passionate about racing. Just to have them in your corner is awesome. And they're right down the road from me, not from Jim, unfortunately.
Right.
But yeah, we got Twisted Tea jumped on for all next season. Obviously, Jim with Pit Viper, we're just trying to put out some social content with Nitro Circus and hopefully bring more guys like Rick Johnson and Kurt Busch. And, everyone's got a pretty full racing schedule, but whenever possible, these guys can jump in the boat. And Britt's been more than helpful to let us use his equipment.
Right.
And it's been fun. So hopefully we don't crash anything and have some fun out there.
Yeah. I mean,
he's here for the crash.
Yeah, I'm not here for the crash for this one. Like,
you want to walk away from this one?
Like when I take the shower in the morning, that's as wet as I want to get all day.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can swim, right?
I can swim, but I don't.
mean, because you're from Utah. They even have pools in Utah?
I mean, there's water.
Okay.
It's scarce, but we can find it where we need
Snow
to.
melts eventually.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, I want to keep right side up this time.
Did you take a dunker test? You had to take a dunker test.
Yeah, definitely
took
a dunker test.
Did you freak out at that?
No, that wasn't that bad because it was a controlled environment.
Okay.
It's the chaos.
It wasn't violent?
All Britt told me was, imagine the dunker test, but somebody punched you in the face. I'm like, wow, that doesn't sound that much fun.
Steve Curtis actually had a good point. I was with Steve first time. He goes over and I was like, oh, it doesn't fill up too quick. He goes, yeah, but usually when you're upside down, you wake up and it's already half full.
Right.
So I was like, noted.
What's the goal to take into Sunday?
We just have to get better. I mean, honestly, we have to figure out, what he needs from me, and I got to figure out what, vice versa. So
yeah, work on communication and hopefully not be going faster each lap. It's going faster each lap, but starting at a higher level than
backwards.
Then backwards, basically. Yeah, tabs where they're supposed to be on a start versus figuring that out 3 minutes later, and then going into a corner where we should be, not having to find a cone or whatever.
Understandable. We made the joke. One more thing, we made the joke about the 4-stroke, 2-stroke outboard joke earlier. Would you rather put a 2-stroke outboard in the back of it? You think that'd be a little bit better for you? You feel a little more at home with the 2-stroke spoke in the cockpit?
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Get the thing singing.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Like 8,000 RPMs, right?
Oh yeah.
Scotty Begovich, obviously Miss Geico, used to throttle Miss Geico. He told me a long time ago that if you weren't nervous before a race, if you didn't have butterflies before a race, something was wrong, and you shouldn't be doing it because that's what keep you on your toes. What were the butterflies like for you guys yesterday?
I've never seen him so quiet before a race, but they kept moving our race back. We were supposed to be second, and then we were third, and then we were second again, then we were fourth. How'd that go?
It was just a roller coaster ride of emotions, man. I get all amped up, and then they're like, "Oh no, you're not racing yet." I'm like, "Okay, well now I gotta get rid of this adrenaline." So kind of wear myself out, and then work myself into a frenzy again, and then it was almost the exact same thing on the start. Get all worked up, green flag goes, boat won't go. So
right, that was on me.
It was perfect.
So Jim starts yelling. He's like, "Cause we're coming up, and we're catching a boat. It's last turn." He's like, "All right, give her all she's got." And then he starts. There's a lot of expletives, and he's like, "Training wheels down, training wheels down." So,
never quite heard trim tabs called training wheels, but a good reference point.
So also we did thought that we were thinking that we actually made the pass a little earlier that lap, and I was like, "Boat on your left, boat on your left." Jim's like, "What?" And then we just got covered, and the power steering goes out because I guess they got the belt wet or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's like, I can't see, I can't steer. I was like, throttle still works. That sounds like a you problem.
Right. Yeah. See, that's that 50% responsibility thing, right? Yeah. Like, whatever, dude, you got it going on over there.
Yeah, it turns out that was just on me. But no, steering came back, and we were able to get him in the last corner, which that made it really fun. The start actually went really, really well in that it went terrible. But it kind of gave it let me take a step back and say, well, now we're just on a kind of a pleasure cruise. And then we kept catching time, like, oh, we might actually pass somebody. And then it just got exciting when we kind of got it all figured out. So, no, that was a lot of fun yesterday, but I mean, just terrifying the whole time.
So let's just scare the shit out of you right now and say, okay, tomorrow you're going to go into that turn 6 boats wide. You'll be on the outside, I'm sure of it, because you're rookies. So you're going to have to hold it through the corner with 5 other boats on the inside of you, maybe trying to push you out. Does that put you on edge a little bit there?
I'm going to go off of what Britt said, and he's like, that's your corner. So that's kind of the mentality into it. I'm used to bumping into people. Well, yeah. Obviously, I don't know exactly what it's going to do because I've never hit anybody in a boat. Right. So
God knows I have. Britt and I were bouncing off everyone. keep
that's true. Yep.
But on the outside, there is actually a green pylon that's right about in our lane. If we're 6 or so out.
There's debris that like is pretty static, and like that's one of those. It's not like we're gonna run into it and it's gonna stop us. It's not gonna be. We're not gonna drive through it. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
especially when you can't see. When a boat comes in front of you, like we need windshield wipers. I think. I don't know.
Something.
I don't know if we're supposed to be in that position, but we got there a lot yesterday.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate it. You going to test today? Run the boat a little bit today, and
any chance we number 6
I said,
or number 5? I don't know.
Yeah, more is more, and I'm working on getting the double digits into seat time on a boat. So today, definitely going to test and see what we can work out today.
Outstanding. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.